At my own birthday, my brother's son grabbed my cake and smashed it on the floor, yelling, "Daddy, my music says you don't even deserve gifts." My sister laughed so hard she nearly fell over. I didn't raise my voice. I just left. That night, I cut off the utility payments to their house. Music. At 9:05 a.m., the group chat exploded. I turned 34 on a rainy Sunday that already felt a little off. I wasn't expecting a parade or a surprise trip to Cancun, just a few hours of peace coffee and the lemon blueberry cake I'd spent $85 on from a boutique bakery near my office. I didn't trust anyone else to pick it out. This was the one thing I wanted to control. Music. My birthday had always been the one day I let myself be selfish, but this year apparently even that was too much. I'd set up the apartment myself. Balloons, snacks, music, candles, music playing low. I kept it small on purpose. Just my siblings, their kids, and me. No friends, no coworkers. I wanted to keep things simple, comfortable, familiar. What a joke that turned out to be. They started arriving around 2 p.m. Derek walked in with Eli, his 9-year-old, already glued to a tablet. Chelsea followed a bit later with her twins. They came empty-handed, of course. Not even a card. I'm used to that. Music. They haven't given me a real gift in years. Not even when I helped Chelsea pay her rent last fall or covered Eli's school trip because Derek's bonus didn't come through. Music. I was pouring coffee when I heard the sound. A weird, wet smack. I turned around and saw Eli standing over the smashed remains of my cake, which had just seconds ago been sitting perfectly in the middle of the table. He wasn't even trying to hide it. Music. Daddy says you don't even deserve gifts. He screamed it like a battle cry, like he'd been waiting to say it. Music. I just stood there staring at the blueberries and frosting smeared across my floor. Chelsea laughed so hard she stumbled backward into my chair like it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen. Derek didn't flinch, didn't tell his son to apologize. Music. He just mumbled something about kids being kids and looked at me like I was the one being dramatic. Music didn't yell. I didn't say a single word. I grabbed my keys and walked out the front door, leaving them all in my apartment. Music. With my ruined cake, with my clean floor, with everything I'd spent the morning preparing for them. Music. I walked for nearly 2 hours. I didn't even feel the rain until I got home and peeled off my coat. That night, I sat down at my laptop and opened the mortgage account. Derek had no idea I was still covering part of his monthly payment. Music. He thought the auto payments were still working off his own linked card. He hadn't checked in months. I stopped it right then and there. Gone. Music. Then I pulled up Chelsea's utility account. Same story. I'd been covering her water and electric since September when she said she just needed a couple months to get back on her feet. I turned it all off. I didn't say anything. I didn't warn anyone. I just went to bed. At exactly 9:05 a.m. the next morning, the family group chat exploded. Derek, anyone know why the mortgage didn't go through? Chelsea, why the hell is my power off music? Derek, Julia, are you there? Chelsea, my sitter just canceled and I can't get a hold of you. Music. Seriously not cool. I didn't respond. I turned my phone on silent and let music them scramble. For once, they'd have to handle their mess without me. And that was just the beginning. By Tuesday, the calls started. I didn't answer. Chelsea left 4 voicemails in a row, each one angrier than the last. The first was fake nice, asking if something was wrong. Music. The second was panicked. Apparently, the twins were complaining about cold showers and Wi-Fi being down. The third one accused me of being cruel. The fourth was just her screaming that I'd ruined everything. Music. Derek finally texted. Instead of calling that he was confused, that he thought we were good, that Eli didn't mean it, that maybe I took things too personally. I stared at the screen for a while before turning it off again. Music. I knew exactly what was happening now. For years, I'd been the fallback, the one who quietly stepped in and handled the things nobody else could be bothered to manage. The one they dumped their kids on when they wanted to go out. The one they called when rent was late or cars broke down or the fridge was empty. I never asked for much. I just assumed wrongly that being useful earned you a little respect. Instead, their kids parroted the things they said about me behind my back. Music. That week, Chelsea dropped by my place, unannounced, banged on the door for 10 straight minutes. I didn't open music it. I sat in the kitchen watching the security camera footage on my phone while she stood outside in leopard print leggings, waving her arms around and yelling that I was being vindictive and tearing the family apart. When she finally left, she took the opportunity to kick over a potted plant by my front steps. It had been there since spring. My neighbors texted me music about it, said she scared their dog. By Thursday, the group chat was a war zone. Music, Hyun. My mom finally chimed in asking what was going on, why everyone was fighting. Derek played dumb. Chelsea, music, blamed me, said I was punishing her for laughing at a harmless joke. Mom asked me to call her, so I did. Music. I told her everything. The mortgage payments, the utilities, the babysitting, the birthday, the cake. Music. I could hear the silence on the other end of the line, the shift. My mom isn't the most emotionally available person in the world, but even she understood. She asked one question. Music. How long has this been going on? Years, I told her. She didn't try to convince me to go back to how it was. She just sighed and said, maybe this is what they need. Maybe it's time they grew up. That night, I got an email from the mortgage company. Derek had music missed. A second auto payment attempt. I knew it was real now. He'd have to face it. No more backups, no more invisible safety nets and the babysitting. Chelsea was suddenly tweeting about fake friends and deadbeat dads while trying to find someone to watch her kids so she could reclaim her weekends. Her desperation wasn't even subtle. She started posting old pictures of us together with vague captions about toxic music people and family betrayal. Her follower count was shrinking by the day. I watched all of it with a glass of wine in my hand and no sense of guilt. They thought I'd come crawling back. They were wrong. By the following Monday, music. Chelsea was in full meltdown mode. I knew because her new thing was live streaming. Music. Not just selfies or reels, but actual live streams in her car, in her living room once. Even from a grocery store parking lot, talking about how hard single motherhood is when you're surrounded by fake people. She didn't say my name, but anyone who knew us could figure it out. She called me a freeloader in disguise, which was hilarious considering I'd paid more toward her bills in the last 2 years, music, than she had. Meanwhile, Derek finally figured out that I wasn't just on a little vacation from helping. He sent me a long, rambling message saying he was concerned about the kids and worried about how this tension might affect the family dynamic. He ended it with, "Let's not throw away decades of closeness over one bad day." One bad day. That phrase stuck in my head for hours, because it wasn't one bad day. It was years of being taken for granted. Music. Years of being everyone's backup plan. Years of being made to feel like I was less because I didn't have kids or a husband or chaos that needed constant fixing. Music. Years of watching them act like I had nothing better to do than solve their messes. Derek's situation was unraveling fast. The mortgage company sent another notice. I guess he assumed I'd step in again, just like every other time, but this time he'd have to explain to his wife why the house they bragged about on social media was 2 music months behind, and why there were calls from collections, and why their internet got shut off. I didn't gloat. I didn't even talk about it to friends. I just watched as the group chat went from fire to ice. No one spoke in it for days. Chelsea went quiet online. Derek, music, stopped texting. I thought they might actually try to fix things privately. Nope. Chelsea showed up at my office. I didn't even know how she got past the front desk, but there she was, standing in the hallway like she had a right to be there, saying, "Music, she just wanted to talk." My coworker stared. I pulled her into the nearest conference room before she could start yelling. She didn't say sorry. Music. She didn't ask how I was. She just said she needed a break and the twins were driving her insane and she didn't trust anyone else to watch them. Music. Then she actually asked if I'd just take them for the weekend so she could reset. I asked her one thing. "Did you think what Eli said to me was okay?" She blinked, music, then said, "He's 9. He didn't mean it. Don't be dramatic." I didn't raise my voice. Music. I didn't argue. I just walked out of the room and left her standing there. Later that night, I got a text from my dad. Short and simple. "Saw what's happening. You're doing the right thing. Proud of you." I didn't expect that. My dad never gets involved, but he was watching quietly just like I had been for years, and now he saw it clearly. They weren't victims. They were just finally living without a safety net. That Friday, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. It was Derek's wife, Marissa. We hadn't spoken directly in over a year. Music. Not out of bad blood, just that distant, awkward dynamic that happens when someone's married to your sibling but never really makes the effort. She was polite, distant, and more absorbed in her online wellness brand than actual conversations. But now she sounded like she hadn't slept in days. She didn't waste time. She told me Derek hadn't told her about the missed payments. She only found out when she got an alert from the bank saying a second check had bounced. She thought there was a mistake until she logged in and saw the red flags everywhere. He'd been hiding it for weeks. Music. Said it was handled. Said Julia was taking care of it. Then she said something I didn't expect. Music. He told me you were obsessed with helping because you didn't have a life of your own. I had to sit down. I'd always suspected that Derek downplayed how much I helped. But hearing it from her blunt, honest, almost embarrassed music hit different. He turned me into some kind of charity case with a savior complex, painted me as lonely, desperate, like I was helping him out of pity, not because I believe family was supposed to show up for each other. Marissa apologized. Music. I could hear it in her voice that she meant it. She said she was going to handle things now directly, that Derek was going to face some consequences. Finally, music. I thanked her and hung up. I didn't need the details. Just knowing someone else was waking up to who he really was. That was enough. Then 2 days later, I got a knock on my door. Not Chelsea, not Derek, not even Marissa. It was my music mom. She wasn't crying, wasn't angry, just looked tired. She asked to come in, and I let her. Music. She sat at my kitchen table like she used to when she dropped by, unannounced 10 years ago, before everything got messy. She said she'd spoken to both of them, music, and my dad, and that they all agreed I was right. Not just about the mortgage, music, not just about the babysitting, but about the pattern. They'd been enabled too long. Then she said something I never expected to hear. Your dad and I are pulling out too. I asked what she meant. No more money. Music. No more watching the kids. No more bailing them out. They were going cold turkey. Music. Apparently, my decision to step away had forced a bigger conversation between them, one my parents had been avoiding for years. Music. They didn't want to spend retirement playing emergency fund to grown adults who made reckless decisions. My dad had already made arrangements to remove himself from Derek's co-signed loan. It was like a house of cards falling in slow motion. By Sunday, Chelsea's ex had filed for full music custody. He'd seen the live streams, the tweets. He had screenshots. I found out from a mutual friend who said Chelsea was spiraling, talking about moving states, claiming she was being targeted. Derek finally called me himself. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail that started calm, then slipped into desperation. Said he was sorry. Said he messed up. Said Eli didn't mean it. That he didn't mean what he told Marissa. That he needed help. Just a little help, until he could get his next job lined up. I deleted the message. Sometimes people don't need another chance. Sometimes they need consequences. By the time the third mortgage notice became a pre-foreclosure warning, Derek had stopped pretending everything was fine. Marissa changed the locks on the house. She wasn't subtle about it. She sent him a photo of the new keys and told him to figure things out on his own. Music. He moved into a friend's basement, which I only know because he posted some vague, self-pitying caption on Instagram about starting music over and who's really there when it counts. No one in the comments even asked what happened. Chelsea, meanwhile, took the drama to a whole new level. Music. After losing temporary custody of the twins, she started posting cryptic messages about family betrayal and legal sabotage. Music. But the real surprise came when she showed up again, not at my house, but at our parents'. She brought a cake. Music. My mother told me about it over coffee. She said Chelsea walked in holding this off-brand grocery store cake, set it down on the kitchen table, and said, I think we should all get back to normal. Music. Then she started crying. Full-on breakdown. Said she was lonely. Said she didn't know how to be a mom by herself. Said she, music missed when I used to take the twins for sleepovers and braid their hair and buy them Halloween costumes when she couldn't afford them. My mom didn't say much. She just listened. Music. And when Chelsea was done, she asked her a question. Why didn't you defend your sister when your nephew humiliated her in her own home? Apparently, Chelsea said something like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Music. My mom told her that was the problem. They'd all gotten used to me being unshakable, quiet, the one who took the hits without making a sound. Music. And the second I stopped, they all realized how much weight I'd been holding up. That week, Chelsea tried to call me, left a voice message that sounded music like the start of an apology. But halfway through, she shifted. Said she missed how things used to be and how cold I'd become. Music. Said the twins asked about me. She still didn't say sorry. She didn't mention the cake, music, or the laugh, or the years of dumping responsibility on me. Derek's messages came more frequently now, more chaotic. Music. He'd lost his job offer after Marissa forwarded her some screenshots of his comments about me. Said she wanted music, everything on the table. He started sending me Venmo requests, $20 here, $40 there. Music. One time, $2 with a note that just said, please. I didn't respond to a single one. That weekend, my dad called again, music, not to check in, just to tell me he and my mom were proud. He said, this music might be the first time they've ever had to grow up. It felt strange, almost surreal. The same people who used to call me rigid and uptight were now admitting I was just consistent. The same people who rolled their eyes when I said no were now the ones being told no. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was relief. 3 weeks passed, then 4. The group chat stayed quiet. No one posted anything. No baby photos, no forwarded memes, not even my mom's usual blurry sunsets. It just sat there like a monument to a collapsed system. I didn't delete it. Music. I wanted the silence. Chelsea finally stopped calling. Her last text was 2 words. You win. I didn't reply. There wasn't a game. That was the problem. They always thought this was about control or attention. They didn't understand that what I wanted was something simpler. Respect, accountability, basic decency. I found out through a mutual friend that Derek had moved in with a high school buddy who was trying to get him into landscaping work. Marissa had listed the house. She wasn't waiting for him to bounce back. Music. He was done pretending to. I wondered if she felt the same strange, quiet power I did. That sense, music, of finally stepping out from behind someone else's mess and letting it be theirs. Chelsea, from what I heard, was living with a guy she met at a bowling alley. No one seemed to know much about him. He stopped posting photos of the twins. My birthday came and went. I didn't throw a party. I didn't buy another cake. I took the day off work, drove out of town, and spent the afternoon at a small lake I used to visit as a kid. No phone, no noise, just me. A few days later, I ran into my mom at the grocery store. She didn't ask for anything. She didn't bring up Derek or Chelsea. We talked about nothing. Music, bread, parking a recipe she wanted to try. And as I turned to leave, she said quietly, you don't have music to fix them. You already saved yourself. I think that was the first time I realized I wasn't angry anymore, but I was done. I didn't start speaking to Derek or Chelsea again. I didn't unblock them. I didn't reach out at Christmas or New Year's. Music. I didn't send gifts for the kids. I had nothing left to give. And for once, I didn't feel guilty about it. They had to grow up without me, and I finally got to live without.